and welcome to the May the 15th evening session of the Johnston County Board of Commissioners. I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight, and those who are in person and those who are watching on our live stream on YouTube. Tony Braswell is here. He will be in momentarily, so just point that out. And as is customary for us, well, let me back up. One thing I always want to try to mention this now is at our retreat for the last 2 years, we've established 6 priorities for the county, and I'm just going to read those 6. And I will try to remember to mention them as each item comes up, but if I forget to remind you, you can see these 6 items, I think, in almost all, if not all of our agenda items. But the first, infrastructure, financial stewardship, land use, public safety, and county employees. Again, that's 2 years that we've chosen those as our top 6 priorities for the county. With that, I will move on. In this customary, we open with a prayer and a pledge. I've asked Commissioner Smith to lead us in the prayer and Commissioner Stevens to lead us in the pledge. So if you would please stand.
Lord God, we just come before you tonight. We recognize that you're the great creator God who created this earth and this world and all that we have. And yet we know that you care for each one of us and that your grace and mercy and providence is abundant. We thank you that we live in this great country and in this great county. We're so fortunate. We ask that we would be good stewards of your providence, that we would make good decisions, that would be in the best interests of our people, and that we would be good stewards of your land. And we now ask that you bless us and help us to make the right decisions. For we pray all these things in the strong and powerful name of Jesus Christ, your Son and our Savior. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, please be seated. All right, first item on the agenda is approval and our discussion of the agenda. Are there any items that need to be removed from the agenda this evening?
Mr. Chairman, item number 11, move that the Metropolitan Planning Organization be moved to the June 5th meeting. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as stated with that one exception.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Was there, that just couldn't fit it in their schedule?
So it's my fault. I was going to bring that. So it's my fault. I had told Campo, they had mentioned they couldn't be here, and I said, well, we'll do it on the 5th. And then during the agenda review, it just totally slipped my mind. So that was my.
I had an RPO meeting this past Wednesday, and it was mentioned there that it would be.
Yes. And I apologize. Kevin Eason, Division 4 engineer with DOT, was here a little bit ago before we'd send him on his way.
All right.
But we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda with the one adjustment of the rescheduling of agenda item 11 to June the 5th meetings. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have consent agenda. We have 8 items this time. We have approval of the April 17th meeting minutes. We have some additions to the DOT system. We have a request from Public Utilities to declare vehicles as surplus. We have approval of a funding agreement between the town of Smithfield and Johnston County. We have, let's see here, Public Utilities, wastewater treatment plant, Hannah Creek outfall, approval of task order number 7 for the town of Benson. We have approval of Johnston County Fire Service supplemental grant agreements. And we have the town of Selmville municipal funding for water projects. And finally, we have budget revisions for the library. Any adjustments to the consent agenda?
Mr. Chairman, make a motion we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I second it.
I have a motion to second. Any other discussion? All those in favor of approval of the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Consent agenda is approved. Next up, we have public comments. Are we recognizing county employees?
We've got several coming over the next 2 or 3 meetings.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I was just checking to see if we had any, but since you're first up, come on up, and I'll do my little spiel, and then you can speak next.
You can go ahead.
So this is a public comment, so this is the time for any audience member to come forward and address the board on an item that is not already on the public, on the agenda. And when you come forward, please state your name and your township or town of residence. You don't have to give your address. And in order to balance the need and desire for citizen input with necessity of disposing of the board's regular business items, speaker will be allowed 3 minutes to address the board. To avoid repetitiveness, groups of people supporting or opposing the same positions are encouraged to select a spokesperson to speak. Speakers shall at all times maintain proper decorum and make their comments in a civil manner. Public comment is a listening opportunity for the board to hear thoughts and concerns of the public, and is not intended for the board to respond or answer to impromptu questions. So with that, I will turn the floor over to you.
Hello, thank y'all. My name is Elizabeth Lynn. I'm from Clayton, North Carolina, and I'm here today to just show appreciation to our county commissioners, Butch Lauder, Patrick Harris, and Tony Braswell, who took time out to talk with myself and a few of our chapter members that are working on some local initiatives here in Johnston County. You all listened to our vision in getting essential supplies provided to teachers and provided valuable insights to help us in our journey of learning the county budget process. So we thank you for that. As members of Down Home, we believe we can make our county better for the future when we build stronger relationships with our elected officials. So thank you again for making myself feel comfortable and more confident today than the last time I came to speak to y'all, even with a piece of paper, just to make sure I'm prepped. But when we feel heard and valued, we are more likely to trust and support our representatives, and we hope that we can work together to build a better JOCO for our future. We're excited to see the support and the approval of the budget in the upcoming cycle. So thank you, and that is all I wanted to say today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Somebody's got to come. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know the rules. Hello, everyone. My name is Susan Wilson. I'm from Kenley, right here in Johnston County. I joined Down Home, North Carolina, because I'd like to help make a positive impact with like-minded individuals that share a passion for improving education, healthcare, and housing for our future generations, our children. Our community group values staying informed and engaged in Johnston County. We achieve this by creating safe spaces for individuals to learn and develop their leadership skills. Our beliefs include making a positive impact and being present, not only just in our community, but within ourselves. We urge more individuals to join us and stay informed. To build this power, we base build year-round. We reach our people wherever they are and bring them together to build community, grow our organizing and leadership skills, and take collective action. As a diverse community, we expect organizations that aim to affect change to reflect this diversity, because that is what Down Home is about. Leaders who may not look like us should at the very least be familiar with our community needs and directly address our concerns. With elected officials like yourselves and others willing to hear from us directly, this will ensure that you are making informed decisions when representing us, the diverse community. We encourage all to take action on June 5th and attend the last County Commissioners meeting before the budget vote on June 19th. Let's come together to support our teachers and the work that they've been doing. If anyone wants more information about us, you can find us at downhomenc.org and on social media platforms, Instagram and Facebook, under Down Home, North Carolina. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, seeing no one else coming forward, Madam Clerk, do we have any emails received for this meeting? Okay. We'll close the public comment section. And now we'll open the public hearing on Parks, Greenways, and Open Space Regional Park Master Plan. I believe I'll call that the public hearing declared open, and then I'll ask Adrian O'Neill to present an overview of the draft regional master plan.
The purpose of the public meeting tonight is to give anybody a chance to make comments in a public forum. And we have a copy of the plan up here. We've provided a copy of the plan online various times throughout the process. It's been very transparent from the beginning, almost 9-10 months ago, up to this point. And we've received very positive comments throughout the last week or two that it's been online. And we'd like to open the floor tonight to any questions or any comments from the public.
All right, any questions of Adrian? All right, anyone in the audience who wishes to come forward and comment, please state your name and general location of your residence for the record, please.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the Board of Commissioners. My name is Derek Applewhite out of Clayton, and I'm the chair of the Friends of Johnston County Parks. The Friends is a volunteer coalition advocating in support of parks, open space, the arts, and recreational opportunities on behalf of Johnston County citizens and visitors. And on behalf of the Board of Directors and our hundreds of supporters across the county, we're proud to stand before you to pledge support for the master plan for the county's first regional park. This plan, as Adrian mentioned earlier, is a direct reflection of the wants and needs of the citizens of Johnston County. Through online surveys and in-person meetings and continued public consultation, the plan provides an opportunity, provides opportunities rather for a mix of active recreation and some calm enjoyment as well, reflecting the needs of the diverse population in Johnston County and differing ages and abilities, and something that I think is incredibly important and our board thinks is incredibly important as we consider this opportunity for the county. We recognize that something like this doesn't happen overnight. It's taken time from y'all's foresight as the elected officials to the work of staff and the consultant team, as well as the steering committee that's helped guide this plan from start to finish. We also know that this project will not be completed overnight, but with the investment that y'all make now, we know that future generations will reap the benefits, and this park will truly be a lasting legacy that I think all of us can be proud of when it does come to fruition. As y'all continue to think about this plan and future opportunities, know that the Friends of Johnston County Parks is here as a resource for you, as a helping hand to educate and engage the public on these things, and as a resource as you consider the further investment in the county in arts and open space, something that I think we can all get behind. Also, Lindsay Camper is here with the Greater Cleveland Athletic Association and their support as a board member. GCA is a staple in the Cleveland community and across the county. Someone who learned how to play baseball there, and I can attest they do a fairly good job. So thank you all for the opportunity for us to support this plan and for your continued investment. And if y'all have any questions or comments for us, we're happy to oblige. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Applewhite. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Yes, sir. If you would, state your name and the town or township that you're in.
My name is Gary R. Underwood, and I live outside of Smithfield on Cleveland Road. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Purpose of me coming here is because we have visited with Mr. O'Neill. I am on the Board of Trustees of the Clayton Senior Center, which is over on Dairy Road. And I believe our president came to see you about a year or so ago, trying to find us a new home. Big problem, we ran a report like this in 2019, okay, a little bit smaller, but same and similar, okay, and it said we don't have enough parking and we don't have enough room. We're the only senior center in the state that has a waiver from the state because we're less than 4,000 square feet, but yet we have the most people coming in Johnston County to Senior Center under the CSS, which you probably all know runs JCATS. Same organization. We're under their umbrella. What we're looking for is a new home. And on here, and I visited Mr. O'Neill, he came and he can tell you what our place looked like and how crowded it was. That 31 acres that you have, you're getting a new recreational center, I believe. Okay, and secondly, excuse me, I forgot to turn it off. I apologize.
They're watching you on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I apologize. Where was I? Oh, I've lost my train of thought. I apologize. But we're looking for a new home. You're going to build a rec center there, new rec center. We already have something like this design. We've got the layout. We have everything all set up. We have a good, well, 2019, we thought what it was going to cost. I'm afraid it's probably going to cost a little bit more money. It's not going to be cheap, but we could be built in that building. We're only going to use it between 8 and 5, most Mondays through Fridays, and any of the other stuff that's there. And that's why we would like for you all to consider, when Mr. O'Neill brings us forward, to maybe take us over there with you and get us off the Dairy Road, because we just don't have enough space. I have one more thing, if I have a second.
Sure.
Mr. Godwin, I saw the article in the Johnstonian News where you commented that all we need is a Cadillac park system.
No, a Chevrolet.
Chevrolet, excuse me. You're right. I think we were talking about a Cadillac. I've been coming to this county since 1994. My wife is born and raised in this county till I stole her away from Mr. Smith's law firm there. Okay, and secondly, I know this county has money. You know, they have the ability to pay and to build themselves a nice two parks. That is a Cadillac, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Underwood. Anyone else? All right, any final comments from the commissioners?
I was just, maybe you can help me, Mr. Godwin, but most of the senior citizens, they do fall under the umbrella of the CSS.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's right.
Is it their decision whether you move one or not, or do you know?
Well, I think everybody over there supports a bigger center for Clayton because they know it's undersized. Their whole problem is resources, and that comes back to us. I've been to that center, and they do need something over there.
I just
Yeah.
didn't want to get into crosshairs of anyone else.
Well, several years ago, we commissioned we adopted I can't remember exactly the name of it, but it was a senior approach to things. The idea that anytime we come up with a new program or plan, to filter it through that, how did it impact seniors? With this new convenience site, could they access it? That sort of thing. So we need not lose sight of that.
And I would just say, even back in my days on the Clayton Town Council, I know that the community services was out looking, at one time trying to partner with Town of Clayton on the community center there. So I know this is something been looked at.
They didn't get very far.
For many years, yes, many years. So
That was one of the things we did look at in this plan, is making sure that every age group, and also when we do or if we do get a center, it will have flex space that can be used for many different things, and this is one of the things that could be included.
any other comments? Commissioner Harris, I know that's your district.
No, I appreciate all the work that's been done, not only from Adrian's team and the Friends of the Park, but also citizens in those areas as well. I mean, they've all turned out and been very supportive of what we're trying to accomplish. 4.5 years ago, we had no conversations about parks and recreation in Johnston County, and we've come a long way, and I'm very proud of that, and I know that we're on the right path. And it doesn't happen overnight, but we're going to get there, and I think the citizens for many years to come will benefit as a result of it because of the work that's being done today. And so by having the setting aside the open space and parks and recreation opportunities, I'm thankful for that. So thank you for your work on it, and Friends of the Park also, and the citizens of the county who are supporting all this.
And I would just add, the thanks to all the people we just did, but also, it's a visionary plan. It's not a one size fits all. We've got some options in there. Again, I know the costs range in there too, but I think there is, as you said, there's a little something for every person out there. So the folks in that area and the county as a whole can enjoy it. But I do like the fact that it has some options in there for this board to consider and then future boards consider as we move forward on that. So
You have to be careful when you call something flex space and then you give it a dedicated use, you lose it as flex space.
yeah, I'm sure there won't be from a lack of people having plans for it today.
Right. Yeah.
Today have plans for all of it. It could all be occupied. So, all right. With that, I'll close the public hearing. And I know that the staff has requested that we adopt this regional master plan, so do I hear a motion to do that?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion, we adopt the regional master plan as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I have some misgivings, as I indicated last time. But understand, you got to have a plan, you got to have something to work toward. I just hope that we don't design something that, when it comes to funding, it gets to be a dividing thing among us and the people. So,
All right, any other discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion to adopt the regional park master plan, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Plan is adopted.
Thank you,
Thank you,
gentlemen.
Mr. O'Neill.
Thank you.
Thank you, Austin. All right, next up, continuing with the Parks, Greenways, and Open Space theme, we have a proclamation, 2023 Year of the Trail. And I believe, Adrian, you have some comments, and I've asked Commissioner Tony Braswell to read the proclamation.
The earlier, well, the end of last year, the legislature put aside a great deal of money to enhance the trails throughout North Carolina. Even one point calling one of the funds Finish the Trail Fund, and that was for many of our state trails. And as you know, we have two state trails that go through Johnston County, one being the Mountains to Sea Trail and the other being the East Coast Greenway. And we thought it only fitting that we support this by asking you all to adopt the proclamation for Year of the Trail. 2023 is Year of the Trail. Great deal of funding, I think to the tune of about $50 million that has been set aside this year. And we hope to gather some of that and use it in Johnston County. We're doing that right now through our grant opportunities. And, you know, it's one of those things that it's going to be slow appearance at the beginning because we're going to do planning. And we're always going to do planning first to make sure we're doing the right thing. So, but that's what this is. And I'll turn it over to Commissioner Braswell to read the proclamation.
Thank you, Adrian. 2023 Year of the Trail Proclamation. Whereas Johnston County's natural beauty is critical to the residents' quality of life, health, and economic well-being, and whereas the trails that span across our community are an integral part of the recreational and transportation possibilities of our area and promote an enjoyment of scenic beauty by our residents and our visitors, and whereas the parks, greenways, trails, and natural areas in our community are welcoming to all and provide a common ground for people of all ages, abilities, and backgrounds to access our rich and diverse natural, cultural, and historical resources, and whereas Johnston County natural assets and resources are an integral to disaster recovery and resilience to climate change for future generations, and whereas Johnston County's natural and improved trails vary from less than a mile in length to be substantially components of the Mountains to Sea Trail and the East Coast Greenway, which both stretch more than 1,000 miles from the mountains to the coast along rugged footpaths in pine and hardwood forest to paved greenways along the Neuse River and up and down the eastern seaboard of the U.S. And whereas trails offer quality of life benefits to all as expressions of local community character and pride, as outdoor workshops for science education, as tools for economic revitalization, as free resources for healthy recreation, as accessible alternative transportation, and as sites for social and cultural events. And whereas the Open Space Program finds and funds provides millions of dollars to support local communities for projects that are crucial to the development of a county-wide system of trails and greenways. And whereas the North Carolina General Assembly designated 2023 as the Year of the Trail in North Carolina to promote and celebrate the state's extensive network of trails that showcase our state's beauty, vibrance, and culture. And whereas North Carolina known as the Great Trail State, now therefore the Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim 2023 as the year of the trail in Johnston County and commend its observance to all people adopted this 15th day of May 2023.
After all that, is that in the form of a motion?
It is a form of motion.
I second.
I think I earned that.
Yeah, I think you did. I think you did too. All right, we have a motion and a second by Commissioner Godwin. All those in favor of approving the proclamation, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Proclamation is approved. Thank you, Mr.
Ladies and
O'Neill.
gentlemen, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right. There we go. Next up, we have Kevin Hubbard here to present to us on the Emergency Services Proclamation EMS Week, May the 21st through the 27th. And Mr. Hubbard, I've asked Commissioner Harris to read that, but if you want to give us some words before that, we'll spare you having to read it. So.
Be glad to. Thank you for the opportunity.
Although I will say Commissioner Harris got the shorter one, so.
We appreciate
That
it.
was by design.
I was late.
Thank y'all for the opportunity to be here this evening. Deputy Director Holloman and I would like to say thank you for everything you do for emergency services, and we appreciate the opportunity to recognize our EMS division and all the fine folks who work there. I'd actually, if you don't mind, like to turn it over to our Assistant Chief of Operations, Chief Ted Hardy, to recognize some of our folks here tonight.
Great.
All right. Chief Hardy, how are you?
Not too bad. How are y'all this evening?
Good, good.
Yep. Thank you very much. As Director Hubbard said, we're really proud and thankful for the opportunity to stand here before you to recognize our many hardworking EMS providers that we have throughout the county. Without your support, we couldn't do the many things that we do, and we are truly appreciative for what you have done for us and continue to do for us to help us provide excellent care and quality service to the citizens of Johnston County. We'd hope to have a larger group come visit tonight, but like EMS is, it has been an extremely busy night, late afternoon and evening throughout the county. So we've got a lot of folks out there doing what we're here to recognize them for doing, which is providing that care to our community. But I do want to just point out some of the folks that we have with us tonight. We've got Lance Adams, Captain Aaron Casey, Ashley Balconis, and in the back, we've got Battalion Chief Anthony Grimes with us tonight.
Welcome.
So just wanted to thank you all for your continued support, and we're excited for this upcoming EMS week and recognizing our folks for the great jobs that they do. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
There's no doubt that many, many lives are saved, have been saved, and will be saved as a result of the hard work and dedication of our EMS crews. And those of us who have been around a long time remember and have watched the evolution of what it used to be to what it is today. And I can't tell you how proud I am of each one of you and the accomplishments that you've made. And whereas, let's see, the Proclamation for Emergency Medical Services Week, whereas emergency medical services is a vital public service, and whereas the members of emergency medical services teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury. And whereas the emergency medical services system consists of emergency physicians, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, firefighters, educators, administrators, telecommunicators, and others. And whereas the members of the emergency medical services teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value of the accomplishments of emergency medical services providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Johnston County does hereby proclaim May 21st through the 27th, 2023 as Emergency Medical Services Week in Johnston County in recognition of this event, adopted this 15th day of May 2023. Mr. Chairman, I'll make that in the form of a motion to approve.
I'd like to second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving the proclamation, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Proclamation is adopted. Thank you.
Thank you for what you do. I appreciate you.
And our third and final proclamation of the evening, we have the Partnership of Children of Johnston County. And we have Heather. I'm not going to try to say your last name. I'll let you say that when you come up. And with the request, well, that's not Heather coming forward.
I hope not.
Yeah.
Heather sending me in her place. Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for having me. Dr. Chuck Williams, I'm a family physician with Horizon Family Medicine, and Heather asked me to speak on her behalf and behalf of the Partnership for Children, of which I'm a board member. Most of you know the summer unfortunately represents a time of significant learning loss, especially for our children that are in traditional calendar schools. And so the purpose of this National Summer Learning Week is to encourage advocacy among community leaders, educators, business people, parents, and families to emphasize the need to keep our kids educated during the summer. When we nurture and cultivate our children's natural brilliance and curiosity, there are ripple effects that are positive throughout every area of life for children and their families. Our work is based on the simple idea that summer is bursting with possibility, instrumental in closing the achievement gaps between privileged children and some of our less resourced children and their families. By casting a spotlight on summer learning loss, galvanizing parents and educators to embrace the power of summer learning, we have created a space for greater achievement potential for all children. Read to Grow JOCO started even before the pandemic with the goal of improving our reading scores amongst all of our children in our county and our state. Obviously took a significant hit during the pandemic, but those numbers are recovering well, and we continue to partner with the school system as a community to help with resources, tutoring for these families and these children. Summer's a critical time to do that. One of the things we've had great success with the last couple of summers is our Read to Grow Pause for Reading events, and this will take place in July throughout Reading Week, and we'll have local business people, community people, parents come to some of the libraries, read to some of the children there, and had great attendance. Last year, 294 children attended multiple events, and we try to strategically place those across the county so that every community and their library and school have an opportunity to participate. This is a great way to get books into the families' homes. We encourage them to take home books, encourage parents to read to their children during that event. This year, we're also fortunate to have a local author, Kimberly Johnston. She'll be providing 3 interactive story times at the county, and we hope these events will be well attended also. It's our hope to convince, connect, and equip providers, education leaders, family and community leaders to deliver high-quality summer learning opportunities to our county's children and youth and help close the achievement gaps that exist. So we appreciate your support on the part of the commissioners in helping us with this proclamation for National Summer Learning Week.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Williams. I've asked Commissioner Godwin to read the proclamation.
This is the year of the trail. Tonight is the night of the proclamation.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Happy to read this one. Proclamation for Summer Learning Week. Whereas Summer Learning Week is a time to reflect on the importance of keeping youth learning safe and healthy every summer, ensuring they return to school in the fall ready to succeed in the year ahead. And whereas summer learning loss is a significant contributor to the achievement gap, a gap which remains constant during the 9 months of the school year but widens during the summer months. And whereas summer learning programs are proven to maintain and advance students' academic and social growth, keep children safe and healthy during the summer, and send young people back to school ready to learn. Additionally, summer youth employment programs engage older youth in meaningful activities that allow them to explore careers of interest, take on new responsibilities, contribute to their community, and earn money for the future. And whereas a wide array of public agencies, community-based organizations, schools, libraries, museums, recreation centers, camps, and businesses in our community contribute to the well-being of youth through summer programming, and whereas summer learning is a critical component of our collective effort to ensure all students graduate from high school prepared for college, careers, and life. Now therefore, the Johnston County Board of Commissioners hereby proclaims July 10th through 15th, 2023 as Summer Learning Week in Johnston County and commends this observance to all of our citizens. Adopted this 15th day of May, 2023. I move this proclamation be adopted.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other comments on this proclamation? If not, all those in favor of adopting the proclamation, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Proclamation is approved. Thank you. All right, next up, we have an update from Triangle Land Conservancy, and Leanne Hammerbacher is here to present that update to us.
Great. Well, it's exciting to be here tonight. What great proclamations, and we're excited to help you with trails, and so thankful for emergency services. They've been critical at several of our preserves, and just appreciate the support as well as summer learning. So I'm Leanne Hammerbacher. I'm with Triangle Land Conservancy, and we're just going to give you a brief update on some of the work we've done over the past year with support from the county. So those of you not familiar with Triangle Land Conservancy, we cover the 6-county region. This is actually our 40th anniversary. So we started in 1983, and we work to protect land for these 4 key public benefits here: clean water, local farms, wildlife, and places for folks to connect with nature. During our 40 years, we've helped support the protection of almost 23,000 acres of land across the Triangle region. We protect land in 3 key ways. That's through conservation easements, actually buying and owning land. We own about 8,000 acres of land across the Triangle. And then we support local governments and agencies in purchasing land as well. This is our focus areas in Johnston County. We have 2 key priority areas: our Marks Creek area, which is on the Wake-Johnston County line, and then the low grounds, but also a focus on the main river corridors, including the Little River, Buffalo Creek, and Middle Creek. To date, we've protected about 5,000 acres in Johnston County alone. That includes 2 public nature preserves, as well, that have over 17 miles of trail on them. We see about 40,000 visitors a year to these preserves, and we also have worked on a variety of easements across the county, including over 650 acres of easement along the Little River, as well as 3,000 acres of easements that are in working lands. As I mentioned, we have 2 nature preserves in the county. The first is our Flower Hill Nature Preserve up on Moccasin Creek. It's one of the only places I know of where you can find a longleaf pine as well as Catawba rhododendron within about 100 feet of each other. The rhododendrons are still out, so if anyone wants to get a peek at this really rare natural community, I suggest a visit in the next week or 2. Our second nature preserve is our Bailey and Sarah Williamson Preserve up on the Johnston-Wake County line. This preserve is unique. It's about 450 acres. It has 16 miles of trail, as well as 5 farmers on site that are providing local food for the community. In addition, this past year, we worked out one of our largest land acquisitions to date, and that was the 1,120 acres in the low grounds. We officially transferred it to state parks in January, and we are working with them on plans for how we can make this resource and this land available to the community in the future. So I really just wanted to thank you. Last year, as part of your budget cycle, you committed $625,000 to land protection effort. That funding enabled TLC and partners to secure an additional $4.4 million and protect over 500 acres of open space. In that land, it's valued at over $5 million, in addition to the Brogden Bottomlands piece. So I just wanted to give you a sample of some of the projects you helped support. The first one is the Stevenson Delbridge Farm. This farm, located up on Middle Creek, is a 2-part acquisition. There's 18 acres that TLC is purchasing and should close on in the next 3 days that could provide future access to Middle Creek and the riparian corridor there. In addition, there is a 50-acre fifth-generation farm that will have a working lands easement on it and, again, extend the wildlife corridor as well as provide a space for continued farming and production in Johnston County. Next project y'all help support that will close in the next couple months is 8 easements along Buffalo Creek that will protect close to 400 acres of land valued at just under $4 million. The last project that your funding commitment from last year that will help support is the Hatches Bridge Farm. Again, this is a multi-generational farm. It sits on the Little River, expands our existing easement work there, and will protect almost 100 acres that will stay in production in Johnston County. So those are the main projects you supported last year, and I'm happy to say they're all on their way. We'll close our first one this week and hope to close the rest of them in the next 2 to 3 months. Of course, we're also at an interesting point in Johnston County. American Farmland Trust just did a study of the entire country and ranked Johnston County for 19th in the country for potential farmland loss. This map up here shows the current state and what is predicted to transition out of farmland in the next 15 years. So we're very thankful for your support last year and think with continued support that TLC can continue to work with the county and partners to protect even more land in the area. In fact, we have about 8 projects in the pipeline that could potentially be funded next year. We have already applied for both state and federal grants on several of these, but again, could protect an additional 500 acres and is a mix of both working lands as well as areas that could provide connections for trails and future open space amenities for the county in the future. So what are we doing next? Well, we're working on closing out these projects. We're also working on a natural resource assessment for the county that will look at these 4 key public benefits and develop voluntary land conservation strategies for both TLC and partners in the county. We're helping support efforts for both the East Coast Greenways and the Mountains to Sea Trail, as well as potential blueways in Johnston County. We did receive a stream restoration grant this year to work on both the Little River and Swift Creek to help clear those waterways, which will pave the room both for improving their ecological value as well as possible paddle trails in the long run. In addition to that, we submitted a grant to the Complete the Trail program actually on Friday in partnership with the Mountains to Sea Trail and are working on a large connector down outside of Selma that I think could be a great crossroads piece for both the East Coast Greenway as well as the Mountains to Sea Trail. So from here, we're again trying to get as much funding as possible for Johnston County. With the rapid growth in the county, there's a lot of state and federal resources out there that we can bring in funds and really make these projects happen. We also like to advocate for local funds. Having just a small amount of funding can really go a long ways. Last year, your $625,000 was just 12% of the total project cost. And again, we were able to leverage that and bring in an additional $4.4 million. We'd also like to advocate for supporting more funding for farmland in our neighboring Wake County. They actually just dedicated their rollback tax, which is the money collected when a property is sold as a farm for development, and dedicated it to farmland easements. It's a little bit of a sad story in that they collected $4 million last year in that rollback tax, but a positive story in that that's going to be directly reinvested in working lands easements in Wake County. And we'd love to see a similar program in Johnston County if folks were interested. Again, we're going to keep doing everything we can to go after state and federal and private funds and really try to increase the open space efforts in the county. We're also continuing to monitor and manage our existing preserves and expand on the work that we've done today. So that was a really brief update. I'm happy to take any questions, but really just wanted to thank you for your support last year and give you an update on our progress to date this year.
All right. Any questions for Ms. Hammerbacher?
I don't have a question, I have a comment. You mentioned Flower Hill over on Highway 231. When I was a boy, there was a designated Sunday throughout the community. It was called Flower Sunday. And everybody in the community tried to go up there and see the rhododendron. It was around Mother's Day, best I can remember.
Okay, that's,
Flower Sunday.
I love it.
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
I'm going to ditto, thank you for what you do, and I know this is a big initiative for us. So just a quick curiosity comparison. When you say we're 19th in the country in Johnston County, can you give me an idea of what some of the other areas in the nation that are ahead of us? Who's number one, number two, number three? Not that we want to be there, but I'm just curious, what communities could you compare us to, or counties would you compare us to with regards to this?
That's a great question, and I'll have to get you the other counties that are ahead of you, but North Carolina as a whole ranks second in the nation for farmland loss, and then Johnston County is first in the state for potential farmland loss. I think there were 3 other counties that ranked nationally, and that's Wake and Union County.
Thank you.
Any other comments? And I'll just echo what Commissioner Godwin says. Thank you for all that you do, and for and we look at financial stewardship where we can, with the 12% match, turn it into 1,100 and something acres plus all the other things that you mentioned. So thank you for what you do and continue to do, and we look forward to figuring out ways to help you do even more. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up we have a budget revision for Four Oaks wastewater pump station improvements, and we have Chandra Farmer, our utilities director, to present that to us.
Yes, you may recall this project is wastewater pump station improvements at our Four Oaks facility. The project's well under design. However, we've requested our engineers make a change to the scope of that design in order to build a new wet well instead of replacing the existing pumps in the existing building. We want to make the site a bit safer and replace additional aging infrastructure. So this will require a new wet well, a new valve vault, and some additional site disturbance and grading. So we're requesting to increase the existing project budget up to $722,700. The increased cost would come from our Fund 68 sewer balance.
Any questions?
Is this the one near the railroad track?
Now, this is at Four Oaks off of Thunder Road, back in that subdivision next to Holt Lake.
All right, any other questions? Anyone want to make a motion?
I move that we approve the request.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor of approving the budget revision, please, say for the Four Oaks wastewater improvements, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. We have approved the budget revision. And you have, the next item is White Memorial Church Road water main improvements, proposed construction contract award and budget revision.
Yes, we recently bid this project. We had 7 bids, and the low bidder was Sanford Contractors in the amount of $3,224,543.04. We are recommending award to Sanford Contractors for this project and requesting the revised project capital project budget adoption at the same time. We're proposing to fund this project from the 2023 water and sewer revenue bonds that we anticipate selling in late July or early August. So this approval would be contingent upon, the funding from the revenue bonds will be contingent upon LGC approval. If for whatever reason we fail to obtain LGC approval and can't sell those revenue bonds, we will proceed with the project, and we have sufficient funds to fund it from our water system development fee reserve fund.
So that's either or, but.
That's correct. We want to proceed either way. The intent's the revenue bonds, that's the way the ordinance would be written, and then if they fell through, we would go back to the water system development fee reserve fund.
I know it's a dynamic environment, but Chad, do you have any idea of where the rates are right now on that type of thing? Revenue bond?
I think it may be around 4% right now.
Okay.
And I did have a quick question. So I noticed in the bid tabs, it's got an alternate bid. Was that and looking at the amount you requested, is that
We
not
did
part of?
not, I don't think we proceeded with the alternate bid
Okay.
on this one. It was the base bid.
Okay. All right, any other questions? Hear a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to award the White Memorial Church Road Water Main Improvement Project to Sanford Contractors Incorporated in the amount of $3,224,543.04. Approval of the revised project budget and approval of the capital project ordinance.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any final discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, with the adjustment to the agenda, next up is the Johnston County Comprehensive Transportation Plan. I believe, Mr. Newton, you have some information for us.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good evening. So, if you will recall, previously we had, we've gone out for an RFQ, or released an RFQ for consulting services to assist with the development of a new comprehensive transportation plan. Previously, we provided you with the results upon evaluating those 3 responses that we did receive, and subsequently we moved to an interview process to where we interviewed the top 2 in that evaluation. Included in that evaluation team was Mr. Chairman, Mr. Lauder, our chairman, and Mr. Godwin, commissioner, and myself. And coming out of that, we just felt the approach of one of the 2 candidates, although both candidates both entities were equally qualified, we just did feel they were presented a much better approach that would benefit Johnston County. And with that, we would like to recommend or request that the selection of the McAdams Company be approved for, so that we could be allowed to go forward with negotiation of contract scope and terms.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Newton? I will add that, and I will concur with what you said about 2 highly qualified firms. The thing that really made me kind of hammered it home for me with McAdams was when in their discussion they talked about the need to look at getting people through around in Johnston County, that the DOT does a good job, a great job in places of getting folks through our county, but we need to start looking at being able to move the people around in Johnston County. So that was kind of the tipping point on that for me. So
I agree with that, and with that, Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the recommendation of staff for McAdams and Company.
we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Motion carries. And the next item on the agenda is the comprehensive land use plan. I know that we had received that, I think, an update revision late last week. And for myself, I haven't had a chance to finish reviewing it. I don't know about the rest of you, but I would just say let's be prepared at our June 5th meeting to have some in-depth discussion on that. I thank you and staff and our consultants for getting that put together. I know it's not a light lift to do that, and now it's kind of in its final draft form for us to take a look at. So any other comments?
I would just say one thing, Mr. Chairman. On the adoption page, it's just got a blank date, adopted blank 2022, and we're in 2023, so let's just be sure we get that done.
I think the target has moved a couple of times. I think we've talked about that, but again, I think we're honing in on a document that's going to live for a while.
Yeah.
So, and I do think that we'll probably be updated more frequently than has been in the past. So that is I guess the good news and the bad news that we're not in 2022 anymore, but we're getting there, and then we'll stay on top of it
Absolutely.
over the next few years.
Yes, sir. Just did want to bring your attention to, there was a separate memorandum concerning the priority investment map and the methodology for that map. Just want to make sure everyone received that.
We did. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next up is manager reports and comment. Mr. Hester.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, board members. I just want to mention and remind that we are in budget season. We'll be completing our documents this week, the proposed budget, and I think the first public hearing is June 5th, on first Monday at 10 a.m., June 12th at 6 p.m. Budget meeting with proposed adoption on June 19th at 6 o'clock. So we look forward to getting with board members individually very soon on this. So thank you for your patience.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We'll turn it over to the board for reports and comments. Commissioner Godwin? Commissioner Harris?
No, sir. Thank you.
No, sir. No, sir.
Believe it or not, I do.
All right.
I just want to take a minute. You know, we had the opportunity to attend the stakeholders meeting for our capital improvements plan, and I just wanted to give kudos to Chandra and her team for what they presented, the feedback that was given. You know, a lot of people think things go on behind the scenes, and it was great to have a lot of people there that gave feedback on what you guys are doing and how you're doing it. And I just wanted to give you and your team kudos for what y'all have done. And I think it was very well received, and for the public to just know that we do listen. You know, you do listen, for lack of a better word, but I thought it went very well.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes, thank you. I just want to take this moment to say how lucky we are to have Gary Underwood live in Johnston County. Gary and I go back a long way, back into 1980s, 1990s. He was an outstanding lawyer in St. Louis, one of the leaders in the Commercial Law League of America. And, you know, I've always said in my company there's two things you can't trump. You can't trump home and you can't trump love. And because of home and love, he moved to Johnston County because of his wife. I can assure you that. So, Gary, it's good to have you here.
I would just add his head was going up and down in agreement with that statement. So, yeah. All right, and I was going to mention the stakeholders meeting for the allocation, and I too agree. It was a very good meeting, a lot of input from stakeholders. So look forward to wrapping that one up. We've been on that one a while too, but we're getting closer. So. All right, with that, I think we have a need for a closed session, and I don't think there's going to be any action. There will not be any action. Let me rephrase that. There will not be any action taken after the closed session tonight. So I hear a motion to go into
All right, Mr. Chairman, I move the board go into closed session to establish or instruct staff concerning the negotiation of the price in terms of a contract concerning the acquisition of real property pursuant to NCGS 143, 31811A5.
Second.
There we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion to go into closed session, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. After a brief break to clear the room, we will go into closed session. Thank you.